We begin with breaking news. The wife of former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien, Aline Chretian, has passed away. She died in her home at Lac-des-Piles, Quebec, at the age of 84. Jean Chrétien served as Canada's Prime Minister from 1993 to 2003. And during his four-decade political career, his wife, Aline, was a close confidant and chief advisor. The Chrétien family has released a statement through a spokesperson saying Aline, quote, was surrounded by family as the sun rose at her home on Lac-des-Piles residence in Shenanigan. Due to restrictions related to COVID-19, a private ceremony will be held. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau also released a statement regarding the death of Aline Chretien. He says he was deeply saddened to learn of her passing and offered his sincere condolences to Mr. Chretien and his family. The Prime Minister called Aline Chretien one of her husband's most influential advisors. He says she was known for tenacity and sharp intellect. He says the Chretien's service to Canadians was built on trust, hard work, and equal partnership. Let's bring in CTV political commentator, former NDP leader as well, Tom Mulcair. Tom, thanks for joining us. A very difficult day, certainly for the Chretien family.
No question. And Catherine and I send our deepest sympathies to Mr. Chrétien and his family and all of their loved ones. It's a very sad day indeed. Anyone who's ever met Aline Chrétien knows that she was such a dignified person. She had such bearing. Everyone knew also that she did indeed have that influence with Mr. Chrétien, who had a very successful, lengthy career, and they were a team. And she will be sadly missed.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. They certainly were with a team, and that description of grace, I think, is one that so many will agree with. Talk to me a little bit more about the influence, you being able to have a different perspective, being in the position that you were as the former NDP leader, being in that life of politics and being able to see things from a different perspective from perhaps what other Canadians were seeing.
Well, it's interesting because the few times I have had a personal opportunity to sit down with them or with Mr. Chrétien, it's always very clear that they were a team. Mm-hmm. Mr. Chrétien and I had a chance to travel a great distance to Nelson Mandela's funeral, and I remember during a supper with other people who were there for the same event, he would reference his wife very often. It was just obvious that they worked on and thought about problems together. And he was that type of person as well. I mean, the two of them had been married for over 60 years. He had been through so many ups and downs in not just one leadership races, not just one or two elections, nearly a dozen elections, general elections. So, yeah, they've been through everything that you can go through in politics, including being a very successful and admired Prime Minister of Canada.
Yeah, as you mentioned there, being married over 60 years, we understand they just had celebrated 64 years of marriage not too long ago. She was also a champion for multiculturalism, bilingualism. Talk to me about that lasting effect and what that's going to be on our country.
Well, it's interesting, too, because the two of them were from a part of Quebec that was very deeply unilingual French, very few exceptions in that type of area. And yet not only did she master English, she picked up a couple of other languages during her adult life, in particular Spanish and Italian. And memorably, when she went to one, it was to Mother Teresa's funeral, and she was able there, because a lot of the people who also spoke Italian, she was able to speak to them in Italian. So she was that cultured a woman and had obviously grown into the job, and the two of them had grown into politics and into their roles together, and that's maybe why it was so seamless and they were so comfortable in those jobs.
Yeah, certainly not difficult to be in political life, as you can certainly attest to, but certainly being able to do it together as a partnership is
it makes all the
key.
difference in the world, I can tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom Mulcair, CTV News political commentator and former leader of the NDP. Tom, thanks for giving us your time and sharing us your stories.
Have a good day, Angie.
You as well.